Hi Homeworthy, I'm Annie. Welcome to my townhouse in Sausalito. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi Homeworthy, my name is Annie Reagan. I'm a marketer and welcome to my home in Sausalito. We've lived here since 2018, so about 7 years, and it's certainly evolved since then. We were living in a studio apartment in San Francisco, and honestly we weren't really thinking about moving or talking about moving. Of course, we wanted to kind of have more space. So we started looking. It took us about a year to find something that we liked. And the thing that drew us to Sausalito and then this townhome is, first, we had more space than we did when we lived in a studio apartment together. Sausalito is such a beautiful community. The weather is very much like San Francisco because we get the wind right off of the bay. So when we found this place, we loved it and couldn't wait to kind of put our stamp on it. Welcome to my entry. So this is kind of the dumping ground of our home. It's where the coats, the strollers, everything gets dropped when we get home. Of course, it looks a little bit nicer now, but what I like to do is when we have space to designate an area, I will. So wallpaper was a big one. I love wallpaper. I wish I could just live in it in our whole house. So this was an area that I wanted to add it. This is a really pretty Sandberg wallpaper, which is the brand that we use throughout the house. And it's a nice subtle geometric pattern, and I think it just kind of adds a nice welcoming touch to this entryway. We put up these just really simple shaker pegs where we can hang coats and hats. We recently added the second one. My 3-year-old is starting to become more independent, and then as a family, I really want to find ways to integrate her into this space so she can come home, hang her coat, hang her school bag, and know where things are. This is a painting, a self-portrait actually by my grandfather, and so I love it. He's one of my favorite people, and he fancied himself an artist. I mean, that is pretty good, but kind of the running joke in our family is that he thought he was this like amazing undiscovered artist. So I love having his art around, and we love talking about it as a family. And then this poster, I wanted something, you'll see red is kind of a theme throughout the house. So I wanted something to go next to this and add more color to this space. Honestly, I think it's a really funny, cute poster. One of my favorite designers, Meta Coleman, has it in her house, and so that's what inspired me to get it into my house. There's not a personal story, just the fact that I love Meta Coleman and her designs. She's one of my inspirations. So if you go over here, then one thing that I love, again, with incorporating our kids into the space, this little chair is from Etsy. A woodworker from Etsy makes this adorable furniture. He doesn't use any nails. He uses these wood joints to connect the seat. And so I really love it. We call it the shoe chair. And this is where my daughter will put her shoes on in the morning. These cushions, I love this fabric. So when I was looking, I go online, I look at a lot of sites, see what's out there. I love secondhand and thrift store stuff. But I was on Cherish kind of looking around, and I saw this kids' vintage table and chairs that had this fabric upholstered on the chairs. And it was from like the 1940s. It was so cute, a little bit out of my budget for kids' furniture that was gonna get tattered anyways. So again, I went on Etsy looking for a fabric that would be similar and kind of emulate that style. And I found the exact fabric. The woman who was selling it made pillow cushions. And so I asked her if she could make these little chair cushions to the specs of the chair, and she did. And I'm obsessed with it. I love like the horse details and the cowboy stuff. It's so cute. Our entries kind of evolved in terms of what we need. I always think we need more storage, but maybe we need less stuff. But one of the things that I really felt like we needed to evolve was we had this table with like baskets with shoes, and the shoes were overflowing, and so it just always looked messy. So I wanted to find something that we could tuck the mess away. So all of Atelier in LA had this vintage cabinet. I think it's from India. And so I ordered it and they delivered it. When they delivered it, the delivery guys did not want to bring it in the house because it had broken. You can see that they're glass panels, but I was set on it because one of the challenges of this space is I wanted it to be high enough to take up space, but it also is the entryway to the stairs, so it had to be narrow. Well, it had to do three things. It had to be high enough, it had to not block our stairs, and then of course it had to hide all of our mess. They didn't want to deliver it, and I insisted that they did. I thought, if it's just the glass, I can fix it, don't worry. When they delivered it on the side, they lifted it up and it was just raining shards of glass, but I was convinced that I could get it fixed. And then I added this really pretty Kathy Nordstrom fabric to the panels so that you can't see inside. And then just Bolga baskets, which my husband thinks we have far too many of, but they're so cute. My daughter uses them to go on walks. She'll pick flowers and put them in. I use them sometimes in lieu of a purse. So I just really love it. I think this room is really welcoming. I love seeing it right now without the strollers and everything. So it's worked out for our family, and I think this piece is especially nice, and I know we'll have it for a long time. So you'll see that throughout the house where I have white walls, I've tried to fill them. I've collected a lot of art over time. I think that it's a nice way to add personal touches to your home. So I have a couple prints from Anna Leovi, and then I have a couple from Gray Malin. I really am a big fan of the Parker Palm Springs, and that's where that was taken with a little monkey. This rainbow sheep I think are really fun. And yeah, so these paintings add just a little bit of color where it's an otherwise white wall. And now I'll show you the living room. So this is our living room, and as you can see, there's a lot of white walls. You looked closely, but please don't. A lot of the walls are interconnected with each other. The ceilings are really high, and then especially here, the ceiling is connected to the entry ceiling, so there's not a lot of opportunity for paint or wallpaper, so we left it white and then added color and pattern in other ways. This little vignette is one way that we did that. My dad gifted us this beautiful Gordon Onslow Ford painting when we moved in. He was actually a client of my dad's, and so growing up, my dad became a fan and a friend of his, and he collected a lot of his artwork. And so to have it in our space now, it's not only nostalgic for me, but it really has informed the color palette that we've used in the room. Somewhat, of course, there's stuff I've just thrown in because I love it too. But we painted the background dark blue, which I think is nice and picks up the blue in the painting, and then there's blue throughout the room. And then one of the things when I thought I was gonna be a mid-century minimalist, I found this really pretty buffet table on Cherish, and I love it. It's where we store some linens, candle stuff, and records, and it's just served its purpose really well because my daughter, who's 3, can grab a record, and we play a lot of music in our house, and so she puts records on now. Sometimes it's Christmas music, even in May, so I don't love that all the time, but it's cute that she uses it. And then, you know, a little makeshift bar. I wish I could say we used the bar more, but it's still nice and remind us that this is an adult space too. I also got these really cute colorful bar utensils, and these are from Matilda Goad for Anthropology. So I feel like you can kind of find knickknacks everywhere. You just have to search, and I do spend a lot of time like kind of perusing the web to see what they have, and these are really cute. I think that's a nice way to add a pop of color. My mom had these lamps, and she had the leopard print lampshade specifically I loved, and I said, when you're not using them, please send them my way, and she did. So I love this like pop of leopard in the living room. I think it can be a neutral, but I think it just adds a nice subtle pattern. And so I really love that. And the plates as well, she passed along. They think she was storing them, and they're so beautiful, they needed to be displayed. So I just have those there. So this buffet, I love it. And one of the things that I learned is a really simple update to furniture or drawers, walls, is these knobs. Updating doorknobs, knobs are so easy and change the furniture. They looked like keys before, but I added these cute little gold eggs, and I think it just adds a new life. And then if you don't feel like this style anymore, you can change it again, and you have somewhat of a new piece of furniture. So those are a recent ad, which I really like and adds a little bit more shine to the space. The other thing, so these are I think my favorite piece of furniture in our house. These are Mies de Roa, I probably butchered that name, chairs that I got on a flea market site for probably $100 a chair. And I love the chrome, and I think it breaks up a lot of the wood that I already have in the space. I splurged on Sister by Studio Ashby fabric to upholster them, and I'm obsessed with how they turned out. And I think that, again, this is just gonna be a piece of furniture that I'm gonna have forever. And sometimes you make design decisions because you love something, not because it necessarily goes with the rest of your space. The fabric clashes a little bit, but it kind of adds interest, and they just make me happy when I look at them. So these candlestick holders I found on Etsy, and I'm not a big fan of overhead lighting. And at night, we light these and then we'll light the fireplace, and it just gives a really nice ambiance, kind of a warm orange glow, and I really love that because bright lights are just not my favorite. The fireplace is one thing that we did renovate when we moved. It was a tile before, and so we just changed it to this easy white brick, which I think is pretty classic and timeless. And so again, kind of thinking through this being a transition home, it's something for everybody. I think you can morph a lot of styles with the white brick. We were really lucky. The mantle and these built-ins were already here, and I just think they're really beautiful. At Christmas time, this is great to have, and I just love decorating it. And then this is a wood-burning fireplace, which we're really lucky to have. These little candles, it's actually funny because Beata Human has this beautiful fireplace that she designed where she has these giant soy or beeswax pillars, and that's the fireplace. So I was inspired by that, and I ordered beeswax pillars, and they are super dinky. And so I'm using them, but really the inspo was meant to have these like beautiful giant pillars in the fireplace. And once these are burnt down, I'll do that, and I'll make sure to measure next time. So this coffee table was another secondhand find. With this space and having two small children, we needed something that my husband and I could put our feet up on or put our food. Sometimes when the kids are done, we'll have dinner and watch TV together here, but also something that's durable and that we wouldn't be too precious about. So I found this. It was probably $100 also. And it's really pretty, and recently my daughter has taken to using it as a stage with her plastic high heels. So we are not precious about her dancing on top of it. Right now we have this beautiful tray. One of my friend's moms is an artist, and she makes these beautiful collaged pieces of art. And so I have her name is Annie Reagan. So I have her tray here. I have a tissue holder, which is supposed to have tissue in it, but I forgot. And just some design books because I love design and I love having books and magazines that I can read through. This I love and was such a fun find for me. This is a Heath ashtray, and I got it in a thrift store locally. But what I love, I mean, aside from Heath being gorgeous and amazing, the original factory for Heath is actually across the street from us. Edith Heath, who started the company and is the ceramicist behind these beautiful pieces, is from Sausalito, and I believe she lived in the houseboats, which are across the street from us. So it's very dangerous because I can just walk over to the original Heath store. They have a lot of seconds and secondhand items that you can purchase. So seconds is where they can't sell it at full price. You can get it at a discount, which again is very dangerous when you love ceramics and collecting things as I do. Over here, we have these built-ins, which I use now to store all my kids' toys. I heard somewhere, which I don't know if this is realistic, but I heard somewhere that if you can clean up a space in 5 minutes, then you have the right storage and you have the right organization system. And I have to say that actually stands true with this kid stuff. Like, these are filled to the brim with kids' toys, but at the end of the night, we just pile them back in. You know, we have like blocks go in one, but other than that, we're not too serious about it, and we can tuck them away and then it looks pretty clean. So that has really helped serve a purpose. This cabinet is filled with my daughter's art supplies. So again, we can tuck that away. And then one thing that was really important to us was making sure that we had a kid's space. I actually dragged my feet on doing it for a long time because our living room's not very big. But as my 3-year-old was getting bigger, I really wanted her to feel like this was her home too, and that she had a space that was functional for a 3-year-old, but beautiful for us. So I got this cute table and chair from Etsy in a blue that matches the rest of our living room. I'm always surprised to find that kids stuff is like white or beige a lot of the time, which I don't know, I think kids want color and certainly ties into the room really nicely. And then I have a bookshelf from the same guy on Etsy who did the chair in the front. I love this. This is one of those Russian dolls, but it is 70s pop stars or rock stars. So there's David Bowie, and then there's Freddie Mercury inside and Elton John. So that was super cute. This West Elm lamp, I didn't need a lamp here. My girls don't need a lamp here. It's right by the window. But it was so cute that I got it immediately, and I was like, I will figure out where to put it. So we just propped it up here on the wall. And it's nice because my girl can come over, turn it on, especially in the winter when it's not so light in the evenings, and she has her own little space. And I think that's really fun. And she can, paint on this table, do whatever. And one thing that I've done is thrown little tablecloths over. This is a baby blanket cantha, but I've also gotten remnants of vintage fabric on Etsy and just throw it over, and you can pull that off and wash it. And then every kid's space, I think, needs a disco ball, because when the light comes in the morning, you you position it in this perfect spot, and it just creates a bunch of light everywhere, little polka dots everywhere, and so I really love it. Another piece of furniture that I love is Sixpenny Home. This is where our couch is from. And not only are they beautifully designed, but couches are a pretty big investment, and you pick one color and then that's what you have for a long time. So the thing that I love about Sixpenny Home, or two things that I love, is first, this is all slip covered. So you can pull it off when it gets messy and just put it in the wash. And then also you can go and buy a new color slipcovers. I would describe my style as eclectic, collected, and warm and inviting. When we first moved in, it was like my first big girl home. Of course, it was our first home together. And so I thought I was gonna be this cool, minimalist girl who leaned into mid-century design. And so you'll actually see some of those mid-century pieces throughout that I still have. I quickly realized that I am not a minimalist. I enjoy color. So when we first moved in, we were really thoughtful about the renovations that we wanted to make. I think both my husband and I consider this a transition home, but of course we wanted to make it our own. And we kind of thought, I don't know how deeply we thought into this, but we were like, maybe we can have one kid in the home. We have two now, so we've had to make it work. Some of the things that we wanted to do right off the bat was we renovated our kitchen, just the countertops and the tile backsplash. It was kind of a preferential thing. There wasn't, we wanted to choose colors that we liked, and that was really fun for us. The other renovation that we made was to our master bathroom. Again, we just switched out the countertops and the tile throughout the space. And one of the bigger changes that we did when I was pregnant with my first daughter was we have a Juliet balcony, or we used to have a Juliet balcony, and we had a huge landing upstairs. So what we did was put up a wall and closed off the landing and turned that into her nursery, so that our bedroom was right next to our daughter's bedroom. Again, we were kind of thinking that this was gonna be a one-kid situation, and then we would figure out our next step from there. And 2 kids later, 4 years later, still here, and both of the girls are in the bedroom together. So welcome to the dining area. So this was one place that I hired somebody to do wallpaper, which was a smart choice. The ceilings were really high, but the walls were in a space that it was, again, a designated dining area. So we put wallpaper up to create its own little nook and separate it from the rest of the room. So this is Sandberg wallpaper again, and I love it. I think it adds nice texture, and then it picks up on the blues in the living room. This is a Noguchi paper lantern, which in the dining room we don't have overhead lighting, and so we really needed to create spaces where there was light to allow us to eat here and be able to enjoy company. I love hosting, we love having people over for dinner, so having this lamp has really helped bring light into the space. These chairs, when we were living in the studio apartment, I had collected a bunch of different chairs, so it really felt like it was time to find a set of chairs. And so I got these from Cherish. They were already red and they were already upholstered with this cute fruit pattern. Some of them are more faded than others, so it allows us again to like not be too precious. Our kids eat dinner here. Our daughter refuses to sit in any kind of like kid chair, so she just pops on one of these, and if it gets dirty, it's okay because I can reupholster them later. I'm almost excited for the day when I get to reupholster them. But I like the pop of red that the chairs bring to the space. So as you can see, I love collecting ceramics. This is a Serena Lily cabinet. I've had to upgrade over time to a bigger cabinet to house all of my stuff. Some of this is hand-me-down. These are those cute cabbage bowls, which I really love and love looking at them too. Again, my Heath collection's a little bit crazy, but when you live next door to the factory and these things are discounted usually, then it becomes a problem. So I've got all my Heath stuff here, and I love finding little like ceramicists or artists on Instagram, and these are from Svadka. I don't know her first name, but they are candlestick holders, and she hand makes them into these little flowers. So I love adding candles to that, and when we eat dinner, we'll have a few candles lit. And I just think they're really cute. At the top row, these are just some beautiful Mexican baskets. Marnie actually did some home goods in this style and I loved them, but didn't want to pay those prices. And then I just went on Etsy and found that this is actually a very common Mexican style basket, and they're so colorful. We have these two built-ins in the counter that house my teacup, drinking glasses, like cocktail glasses that I like to find when we go thrift shopping. So, and then this lamp I got on eBay. And this is an Alice Palmer lampshade, but I just loved the orange and green and yellow stripes. I love stripes as well, so I was excited to have that, and just another source of light in this room that doesn't have overhead lighting, so can be a little bit dark. And this is a rattan vintage wine holder that I picked up, and again, the rattan I think just adds a little bit warmth into the space, just like the cabinet as well. So this is the kitchen space. One of the renovations that we did when we moved in was change out the countertop. We chose this white, I think because it's not really a huge space, and so we really wanted to brighten it. Surprisingly, the white has been okay in cleaning, so I don't know if people will be scared of a white countertop, but it's been okay. And I really love them because again, I think it keeps the kitchen bright and airy and clean. We have 3 sconces here, which adds some nice light. It also adds like a nice divide from the dining room, but we can put, like if we're hosting, we could put our food out on the counter here and people in the dining room can grab it. Again, because this is a little bit more closed off from the rest of the living room and dining room, I recently painted it. It's Faro and Ball Skylight, I think it's called. And so it's just like a really, really subtle light blue, which I think adds more warmth to the area. The backsplash is another thing that we did when we renovated, and these are Heath tiles. And I think the color picks up these nice white tiles that have some variations of gray in them. The cabinets were here when we moved in. I really wanted to paint them, but this is really nice wood, and I think it just ties in with the wood of the space, so we left them, and I'm happy we did. I think they look really good. These are Edward Wool cutting boards. I just think they're really pretty, and I think one thing to do is like buy what you think is pretty and you're gonna use. We use these all the time. They take wear and tear, and so I like seeing them, and that's why they're out displayed, but they're also just pretty and handmade, and I think that's quite special. I got this little chicken. I don't really remember where I got it, but it holds my chili flakes, and I just think it's so cute. and it kind of makes me laugh. Also, these lamps are so useful. I forget the brand, but it's nice to add a little bit of extra light in the kitchen. My daughter also likes to take it off of her stand and put it on her table, and we call it the restaurant light. So she feels like she's eating at a restaurant, which is fun. So those are really useful and helpful. Over here, I don't know if anybody else has a 3-year-old, you know that they are fruit bats. So these are gonna be on tomorrow. But this is another Heath bowl that I like to just hold our fruit. This is a rattan tray that I got. You know, we don't usually have this much citrus, but I think it looks really pretty displayed here, and adding some of those natural textures into this space as well. And then, you know, our kitchen's not that big, but I do cook every night. I love cooking, I love hosting. And I think that one of the keys is just to recognize what space you have and kind of work with it. I love to make snacks, so I'll make a bunch of snacks. I'll put them either on the counter or I'll put them on the dining table. And so people are fed. Rule number 1, always feed your guests. And then sometimes I'll move the bar over to the counter too. So it kind of allows people to walk throughout the space and not just congregate in one area. But yeah, it serves its purpose. We have to be kind of diligent about keeping it clean, but I haven't really run into an issue of having too small of kitchen yet, but we'll see. I can take you upstairs now. So one of the things I just discovered, which I am obsessed with, I didn't know was a thing, is these stair baskets. So it's shaped kind of funky, but it's woven that way. And again, having 2 small kids, the stairs are the drop zone of things that are supposed to go upstairs or come downstairs. So the basket has kind of helped keep that clutter cohesive. And then of course, when it gets full, I can just take it upstairs and put things away. I had a lot of art. We have a lot of pictures. And so I wanted a space to put everything so we can enjoy them rather than just keep them stored. So our stairs have become our gallery space. So I have a painting from my grandfather. I mean, this is my nephew, some art from artists that I love or just saw and really like the prints, some wedding photos. These are Bonnie Raitt concert tickets. My husband is a musician and he actually worked on the last Bonnie Raitt album, which was really fun. I was pregnant with my first daughter and she sent a letter to my daughter, you know, congratulating our family on having her. And then we were invited to her concert and she shouted out my husband during the concert. So it was a really special moment for us. So I wanted to memorialize it and had the tickets framed. And then another special piece that we have on our wall is this is a mugshot of my father-in-law. He was actually the first undercover FBI agent. And so he is in fact undercover in this picture. But I just love that my girls, the pictures that we have on the wall of him are mugshots. He was a really cool guy, so I love that they get a little bit of his personality in his work. As a recreational designer, I think one tip that I've learned over time is that you don't have to fill the space immediately. It's very exciting. I have so much fun shopping for stuff. If there's something in my house that I can change, I get very excited to change it. Upholstery is a new one for me that I love doing. But my design tip for people who are amateurs like me would probably be to just go slow, live in the space, see what you like, kind of create a Pinterest board, of course, but focus on what things in that board that you're really drawn to, and I guess consider what it might look like in 7 years. This is our master bedroom. It is one place that I want to make sure it feels very relaxing and comfortable when we get home. Again, it has the high ceilings, so we left it white to keep it light and bright and airy. There's this big white wall, and one of my dreams is to have one of those great bookcases that goes all the way up to the ceiling, but we haven't invested in that yet. So I have these nice floating shelves that I think add a little bit more wood and contrast. And then I've just decorated them with some blue and white things that I've collected, that I've been gifted. My sister got me this Hermès plate and I can't afford to have the rest of the collection, so it's nice to have it here. And then just some books and magazines that I love. Another theme throughout this room is having the blue and white ceramics or porcelain. So I found these lamps on Cherish again, and then just added this accordion shade. And I love that we have them on both sides and just a nice little touch. Another one of my favorite designers is Pearson Ward, and I saw that they did these sconces and the bedside table, so it seems a little excessive, but I kind of love it. We use these at night when we read books with our girls. These are a little bit brighter and we use them during the day, but I think it just adds nice light warmth when we can use more light that's on the tables or on the walls rather than the overhead lighting. And then I inherited these photos or these paintings, I think they're prints of an artist called Dufy from my dad. And I have a few of them and I really love the colors that they have. There's one that is boats, which reminds me of Sausalito. So I really love having that in here. I have a couple of these I inherited from my mom. I also found one, so I kind of added to the collection. And then these drawings are figure drawings that I got on an auction site for like nothing at all. I think they were just sketches from some artists, and I actually did figure drawing and I did some fashion design, and figure drawing is one of the things I love. So I really like having those hanging over the bed. I think, you know, the nude form is perfect for a bedroom. This bed is a king size bed. It, again, a mid-century influence from the days of just moving in. I splurged on Nikki Kehoe bed, like this bed linen for my birthday last year, and then a couple pillowcases. And again, I can't do white sheets. I know it feels very like hotel, spa, but I just love using the bed and the linens as a way to add color to your bedroom. And then one of my favorite things in this room is the rug. This is a vintage rug that I found. I love the brown. And then I love how it has these pink flowers. Anything with flowers, like floral in a designed way, I don't really know. There's a couple elements that I really enjoy, maybe not overdoing it, but I think the flowers are really sweet and add a little bit of femininity to the space. So then I also have these leopard stools, which I love. I believe I got these on Cherish as well. And just like the lampshade downstairs, just adds a little pop of leopard. And I think that this is a print that kind of goes with everything. So I love these. And then on my bedside tables, pretty similar to my husband's, these are from West Elm, and I wanted the glass and the metal because we do have a lot of wood, not only in this room, but throughout the house. And so I think breaking it up with some other elements is always a good idea. And then I just got this catch-all from Schoolhouse, and it kind of reminds me of Elsa Peretti, who I really like her jewelry, and so I think it's really pretty. So this was a wedding gift for my husband and I. My mom's cousin's husband is a ceramicist, and he gifted us this. I love that it kind of looks like an eyeball. I don't know if the placement, it's like watching us, but we hang it on the wall. Again, it has the pop of red that I love. And yeah, this is a really sentimental piece of mine. Welcome to the master bathroom. This is another area that we renovated when we moved in. We had different countertops and different tile on the floor, so we got to redo it and chose a nice classic gray stone. The floors are actually black heath tile, and this is one room where I feel like it has a timestamp on when we renovated it. So we renovated in 2018, and I think it's very reminiscent of what was popular at the time. So we did the black heath tile, which I love, and we used the heath seconds, and so, you know, it was less expensive and we had just enough to do this bathroom, so that was great. And then I did the white subway tile in the shower with the black grout. And for a long time, this room was just white, and so it was pretty sterile. It was pretty, but it was kind of sterile, at least for my taste. And so one of the things that I did was decided to wallpaper again. I don't know, wallpaper is just my go-to to add color and warmth. And so another Sandberg wallpaper. I didn't want to fight the choices that I had already made in here, and it's still a beautiful bathroom. So I decided to pick a wallpaper that picked up some of the black and white tones. But the nice thing about this wallpaper is that it has a brown background, so it adds a little bit of softness, picks up some of the browns in our bedroom. And yeah, just added, you know, the rattan shade just adds a little bit of warmth and softness. So I think it's a beautiful bathroom. If I was to redo it again today, I would probably make some different choices, but it has worked out for us, and we have a ton of space, 2 sinks, And then our closet is also in the bathroom. It's a design decision that we did not make. And if it was up to us, I would not have made it because shower, clothes, you can imagine they are not friends. But we have a really good sized closet that now my whole family uses. I use it most, my husband, and then my kids have some leftover. My favorite thing about my home is just how warm and inviting it feels when we come home after a long day, or the kids come in and there's toys everywhere and it's noisy. I really love that my 3-year-old is starting to use parts of our home that I kind of would think are more of the adult things. Like she goes to the record player and she pulls out a record and puts it on. And so I just really love that the 4 of us are starting to feel like this is our space. We do have areas that we've created for our children to kind of hopefully focus the mess and focus their activity. But there's other parts that I just love, you know, watching my girls grow up here and watching them feel at home and comfortable. And that's what I love. So this is my girls' room. I think this is my favorite room in the house. It certainly had the most fun designing this room, again with the Sandberg wallpaper, but this was a place that we put in wallpaper. It's a smaller area, so we did a really skinny green and neutral stripe, which it just adds a little bit of texture and warmth, and I love that. And then these cribs, we had the one girl, and these are green from Room and Board, and I love that they have a color. Again, a lot of cribs are white or beige, so we really wanted a color to kind of create more warmth and fill in the space a bit more. They turn into toddler beds, so this is where my 3-year-old sleeps. She's actually obsessed with these veggie sheets from Osso and Me. They're the only sheets that she will sleep on, so it's nice because it works out in our design. I think the veggies are really cute. She set the bed for the tour today, and she wanted you guys to see the 2 little guys hugging. She also stole this pillow from downstairs from my husband's office and has decided it's hers now. So it's just a really cute little kids space, and I love pint-size things. So like a pint-size duvet is so sweet. One way to kind of add a little whimsy and playfulness was to create this canopy. I found these curtains on Anthropologie. They are again Matilda Goad for Anthropologie, and they already were pre-made. They had this little flutter thing here, and so I just used cafe curtains to create a little bit of a canopy, and I think it gives it a little bit of a princess room vibe. Some of this artwork was, my mom saved it from when I was a little girl, so we put it up in here, some Beatrix Potter prints, and then some storybook prints here. And then this little shelf is just from Etsy. I do love, so one thing I kind of think about is that Sausalito is where my girls are growing up, and this is their hometown right now, and it's very much like a sailor, beachy, bayside town. So I have this painting from Kate Mancini that I found on Instagram, and I think it just adds a little bit of like Sausalito vibes, which they say stay salty here. So we have that little sailor, and then on Etsy I found this woman who makes seagulls, and she actually makes different hats for them as well, so you can change the hats seasonally, which is very fun. This dresser, so when we just had the one daughter in here, we had a different storage solution that was taking up a little bit more space, but when we had 2, we needed to downsize the storage and make sure that it worked. The girls could have space to play in. We really wanted them to be in here and go crazy. So I found this beautiful pine dresser from House on the Horizon. They import them from England. So I really love it. And again, it's something I know that we'll have forever. This lamp I found the ceramicist on Instagram again, and it's called Ori Ceramics. And so they sent me the base, and then I had the lamp made and put a cute little artichoke shade on it from Alice Palmer. This is really sweet. My husband actually made my daughters a book when they were little, and so it's the only copy, and I think he just didn't think kids' books were all that great, so he made his own, which is really sweet. We actually read that to her a lot of nights, and I love having that out, and I just love these like personal touches. So this is my 1-year-old's bed. So of course when she arrived, we had the girls share a room, the same matching crib from Room and Board, and then it's just varied slightly, you know, the things that can be in her room right now. She's just having she just has a crib sheet, but with the matching vegetable sheet. And I did the same thing with the curtain to create a little bit more of a princess sleeping vibe. This is Boomer. He is a hand-me-down from my cousins. I don't know how many parents have these giant stuffed animals, but we have one and he takes up a ton of space, but my girls love him and my daughter will curl up with him and read books. One thing that I added to the walls was these cute bugs. So you put these together and I just put them up the wall to add some color. And again, the ceilings are really high, so anything that draws your eye up, and I think the bugs are fun and playful, so I included those. And then to go along with the bug theme, our wall sconce, I believe is also from Anthropology, is a little beehive. And we have that, and my daughter can go and turn on and off the light. So this is the rocking chair. We've had this since my first daughter was born. It was white for a long time, and over the years it has worn down. So I recently got it reupholstered into this really cute green and blue checked, and I love it. I wish I did it sooner. And I think upholstering things is a really easy way to update. Sometimes I get in my head that I need a new piece of furniture when really you just need to give it new life. And so I love this and how it turned out and how it just adds more pattern and color to the room. And then I got this bookshelf on Facebook Marketplace. And again, with the rattan, and then just a way to like store all the kids' toys. These things I got for myself at a estate sale. They're vintage little containers. Of course, my older daughter has already adopted them and hides her little treasures in them. But I think the yellow and the orange are really cute for this kid space. This, I think I got it on Etsy. I just liked it. I don't know. It's supposed to be a bookend, but it's really light and would never hold a book up in its life. So I'm not really sure how that's supposed to work, but I just think it's really cute to have a little duck head there. And then this is a record player. My husband got me this at one point in our dating life. And because it's this bright teal color, I think it's really great for a kid's space. We don't use it that much yet, but as the girls get older, I think it'll be fun to put records on in here. You know, CDs. We have a collection of CDs still, my husband and I. And so this is really nice that we keep in their room. This is my daughter's mouse house, we call it. We use the little mice as dolls, but it's an IKEA house, which was handed down to us, but I don't think they're very expensive at all. And it's kind of a blank slate. And so what we did was got scrapbook paper and added the wallpaper and added some to the floors too, to just decorate it a little bit more. On Etsy, you can get dollhouse things. So we got the shingles and added them. And then any kind of like art supply store or fabric store will have little dollhouse stuff. So we've collected a few of those items. And it's really cute and she loves to play, and I just love that it's sort of a fun, elevated way to have a little dollhouse. I DIY a lot, and if you look too closely, which I hope you don't, you will see a ton of holes in the wall, you will see nails. The one thing that I took to, especially when I was pregnant and nesting, was I put up wallpaper by myself. We've hired a professional in a couple rooms, and there's a couple rooms where I hung the wallpaper myself, which people can totally do. It's not that scary. It's just not going to look as good as when a professional does it. And there are some seams on my walls that are not there on the professional walls. So this is my husband's music studio. Again, this townhouse is 2 bedrooms and they're stacked on top of each other. And so when we moved in, we had no kids, and he is a musician, as you can see, and he comes with a lot of stuff. So we designed this to be his music space. My husband's very patient with me. I change and move around furniture all day long in the rest of the house. So he's asked me to really be cool when it comes to what is in here. But he's allowed me to do a few things to at least make it look somewhat cute. The first thing we did was paint this wall a beautiful teal green so that when we hung his guitars, it really kind of becomes an art focal piece, and he just, grabs those off the wall, and it's also very functional for him. The other thing that we got is, again, pre-kids, we thought we could use this space as a guest room. So we got this cute or beautiful gold Joybird couch, which is a pull-out bed. Funny story, we moved it in and we had these awful sliding glass doors that were made of aluminum and made our house really cold. So that's one thing that we updated. We updated the sliding glass doors. this couch does not fit outside of the doors now, and it doesn't fit outside there. So I don't know what's gonna happen. I guess the next owner is gonna have to keep that, but we cannot get it out of this room. But it's fine for now because it works really well, and he did let me add some red pillows to the space. This is another area that doesn't have overhead lighting. So I added this paper lantern with a red cord here, put some lucite shelves up for his pianos. And then we also have our kids' instruments here, so we want them to feel like they are invited in to play music in this room. The carpet here was leftover. I think we had this carpet in our studio when we lived in San Francisco, so we just put it in here because we needed a place to put it, and I actually really love it. I think it works with everything that we have in here. And then a more recent update was we had some really dinky shelves, which my husband, again, he didn't want me to touch this room, but we really needed to update the shelves. So we recently put these IKEA shelves up, and they do the job. A lot of the stuff that we keep here is like books that we don't know where to put, our books that we don't know where to put anywhere else. I put some baskets here again to try to like bring some warmth into the space and then cover stuff that we don't need to see on a regular basis. Some more kids' instruments. This is really cool. So my husband works at a studio nearby, and he worked on the Van Morrison album as well. And so after he was done recording with Van Morrison, he gave him his harmonica. So we have Van Morrison's harmonica. I got a little special box for it because I didn't want that just flopping around in our space, and then it makes it feel special, which it is. And then also my husband really loves Halloween. My 3-year-old really loves Halloween now too. So he keeps these out year round, which I would love to tuck them away, but alas, this is his space. And then this cute little lamp, we have these little side tables. When we have guests, I would like to have a place for them to put their phone or what. And I found this cute little lamp on Etsy, which has the red. And then we have another little cocktail table over here, which I think has lived with us for a few homes and had more function, but it works here for, again, a side table when we have guests. So this is where my husband works. He has his equipment here. This table was our old dining table in the city. It's just like a Target table, and he's like, it's fine, I'll use it as my desk. So that got recycled for that. This chair I love. It's a vintage chair. I could only find one. I am always on the search to find another one because I love it so much. It has this cute mustard fabric as the seat. It does need to get reupholstered because it's well loved, but I think it's a beautiful chair, which he uses. And then this picture, my father-in-law gave to my husband. It's the Rainbow Bar and Grill in LA, and it's a place that both my husband and I have been before. My father-in-law used to frequent it quite a bit, and my husband and I had our first date at this bar and grill in LA. So I just love that he has it hanging here, and it's signed from the artist to my father-in-law. So it's just, I think my husband has lugged this around to a ton of different places that he's lived, and I am glad that it's landed here in his studio. So this is my daughter's bathroom. It's also the guest bathroom, the only bathroom on the downstairs floor. So one of the design challenges of this room is making it kid-friendly because we've got bath toys. This is the bath in the house. This is where they have their bath every night. But also when we had friends over, we didn't want them to feel like they were coming into a kid's space. So it was trying to find the balance between kid, bright and colorful, and also okay and fun for a guest bathroom. So we didn't do any renovations here. This countertop was here when we got here, as well as the stone floor. This room has evolved quite a bit. I've painted it dark green. I have hung various art on the walls, but I really like where it's landed. It's a nice white color. These built-ins were already here, which is great storage. And so some of the things that I've added, again, to find that balance between guest and kid is these really cute blue towels from Wheezy. They're scalloped, and I just think they're really sweet. This piece of art from David Paris is very nostalgic. I was a big Barbie fan growing up. So I have this Jonathan Adler vase in here. There's this guy and then somebody else has a mullet on the back of it. I really like the Parker Palm Springs. So one thing that I stole from them was having these guest vanity items out. So they had like a fancy Hermès soap and these Acqua di Parma shampoos. Nobody ever uses them. They've literally sat here since we moved in, so like 7 years. No one touches them, but I really like it. I think the Parker Palm Springs does a really good job at having these things, so that's what I did. I really like the shower curtain from Schoolhouse. I think it adds some fun colors, makes it a little bit more playful. It is a kid's space, but also the plaid, it's, you know, not too child. This bath rug pulls in the blue, again from IKEA, and then we also have a stool from Schoolhouse that pulls in this bright orange, and so it's functional because my 3-year-old can reach the sink, but it also is a little bit more designed than maybe a kid's stool would be. The word home means to me, I mean metaphorically, where my husband and my 2 girls are. I think any space that the 4 of us are together is home, and we can always make it home and comfortable. And then again, I think coming home physically to me is a place that you can come inside and just take a deep breath and feel relaxed. I mean, we've cleaned it now. You will see it never looks this clean, but we can throw our bags in the entry. You can have strollers out. And while we try to keep the mess to a minimum, I think just someplace that you can relax and be yourself and feel, you know, I guess a little bit nurtured or protected from the outside world for a bit. Thanks for coming, Homeworthy. It was fun showing you around, but now I have to figure out how to keep the house as clean as it is right now. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and